What is up, everybody? Welcome to Eagles Aftermath right here on DSM Media. We're live, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You know the drill. Make sure you're sharing it out, liking, dropping those comments in the comment section. The only way you can get involved in the post-game show, though, is head over to our YouTube page, type in DSM Media, Eagles Aftermath, and that's where your comments can join the broadcast, and I can be able to read them on the air. I am Phil Stifel. From Trending in the AM and Trending for Four Quarters and DFL, you know all the shows I'm a part of. I'll be joined shortly by newest DSM Media team member, El Parcero. He'll be joining the post-game show as well. And as always, we'll have all the coaches and players' press conferences right up on the screen as always. So, Eagles win. Again, big game today in Denver, 30-13. Again, DSM Media, we are brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's grooming products and gear and everything. Make sure you check them out and use promo code TRENDING at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. Holidays are right around the corner. Make sure you go to manscaped.com and make sure you let them know that DSM Media and Trending for Four Quarters and Trending in the AM and Trending Everything has sent you. So, yes, Eagles win 30-13. Big victory today on the road in Denver. A game most of us saw us losing, myself included. There's lots to get into. Yes, big win. Go Birds. Absolutely. Thanks you checking in. And yes, the beard. It's a little trimmed up now since last time you've been on the show, but we're live. So make sure you continue the comments. We got lots to break down, lots to talk about. All my shows this week, I talked about two keys to victory this week, which I wasn't positive they win. I didn't bet them to win. I didn't call them to win. But I said two key things needed to happen today for them to win this game. And that was to win the time of possession, and they needed to win the turnover battle. Now, the time of possession battle, they won by about 6 minutes. They were dominating in the first half. The third quarter kind of went towards the Denver Broncos a little bit there. They had a couple long drives there, but the Eagles defense was able to have that little bend, not break kind of personality there, which is great. And then the turnover battle, which it was 1-1. We both had a turnover. Jalen Hurts had a really bad interception, which we'll get into that. And then there was the fumble recovery by Darius Slay for a touchdown. So it was 1-1. I'm actually going to say we won the turnover battle because I'm going to count that the blocked field goal by Kayvon Wallace. I'm going to consider that a turnover. I'm going to consider that a win. So I'm going to say my two keys came true, and that is why we won the game. We won the time of possession. We kind of sort of won the time of possession, like I said. So all in all, it's a good victory, and we're just getting closer and closer to the easy part of our schedule. What's up, Jason? Thanks for checking in as well. Much appreciated. We're at that point now where we got the Saints next week at home, and then we go Giants, Jets, Washington football team. All these teams that we know we can beat. They're not good teams. You want me to dive right in, Adam, to Jalen Hurts? I will dive right into Jalen Hurts. We can get right into Jalen Hurts. No problem. I thought Jalen Hurts had an excellent game today. I'm spouting knowledge. Yeah, I don't know about that. Jalen Hurts today. Jalen Hurts had an excellent game. You take that bad interception pass out of the equation. It was a bad pass. His arm he couldn't follow through. He kind of short armed the throw there. But he's got to know and learn when to eat a pass like that. No doubt about it. But outside that play, there is not one moment in this game that I can pull out and say that was a bad play by Jalen Hurts. The ball was. The game plan from Nick Sirianni was excellent. A lot of running, a lot of passing, a very good, solid mix of both. The team played well around him. He made smart decisions with the football outside the one interception. He didn't fumble. Before we get back into that, we got El Parcero, newest member of DSM right here. What's going on, my friend?
How we doing, Phil? Great
Very
day.
Good. I'm happy. Post-game shows are so much easier after a victory.
I know, and the first time you and I, and it's a great way to start off with a big dub. And there's honestly not too much to criticize here today on my behalf.
You just had a question. I was just about to start talking about it, and the question was, what did you think of Jalen Hurts today? And I said, outside the one interception, which was he short-armed it, there was pressure in his face. He can learn how to not throw that ball there. Outside that, I can't find one negative moment from this game on Jalen Hurts.
No, to me, it was a really complete performance. And we've seen this clutch gene by Jalen Hurts. But today, even after that interception, the thing that I love so much about Jalen Hurts, in football and in life, anytime something negative happens, dude, you got to bounce back. You have to be like as my boy Ted Lasso said, you have to be like a goldfish, right? You have to have that short-term memory. and he literally it didn't even let him phase him. Went back to the iPad as they usually do, look at the play, study it, learn from it, don't make that same mistake. And he went out and he completed this game here, and that's what you want to see from Jalen Hurts. It's that continuous as that continuous development from him, man. It was great to see. He's a big
And
reason why
there's
we
so
won.
many little moments in the game where he showed that, that development, sliding in the pocket. I know Dale Goddard got hit and knocked out on a no call penalty, which, whatever, that's, that was an unfortunate thing. But that last year or even earlier this year, Jalen Hurts takes off and runs on that play and does not wait to get him open. There was a third down early in the first quarter where he rolled out to the right and he waited to run. Quez Watkins got open and he completed about a 15-yard pass for a first down to Quez Watkins. There was moments throughout this game where you saw some really strong progress. I'm not saying he's the quarterback of the future or anything like that. I'm not anointing him this, superstar, but it's a really good stepping stone today for him going forward.
No, and I agree with you, and this is why I want Jalen to be the guy. Like I don't think Jalen will ever be a top 5 quarterback. I just don't think that'll be it. But I do think that if you're able to build a complete team around Jalen Hurts, I think that he can succeed with that. And you're seeing what's going on right now. He's doing what he can with what he has, and also too, I do want to give credit to Sirianni today.
Absolutely. I'm ready to give all the credit to him.
It's crazy to say. Like I did not think I'd be able to say that, but I think he called himself a great, like even that play you just mentioned there. I think that was a pass run option for him, but to be able to call that play, that was such on third down to be able to call that play, and that was a good throw by Jalen Hurts as well. But I think all day, when you look at the final numbers here, when you're talking about run pass, to me that was what I wanted to see going into this game. I don't think that you should be having Jalen Hurts going out here throwing 30 to 40 times. I also don't think you should be running 40 times. But today in this game, they had 18 rush attempts. I'm sorry, 40 rush attempts to the 23 pass attempts. That obviously that's a lot of run, but you had a lot of you were up by you were up big in the fourth quarter, so you were obviously trying to chew a lot of that clock. So that was good. But I think when in beginning of the fourth quarter, I did see it was like 20 some rush attempts or 30 some rush attempts, and that's kind of what you want to see from the Eagles, that more balanced rushing attack, and it keeps people on their toes. And Jalen Hurts was making some pretty big throws today, man.
Yeah, Nick Sirianni has definitely settled in. He's gotten into a rhythm. His play calling is smart, and he's not making the same mistakes he did. I mean, he was definitely overwhelmed, I feel, early in this season as a rookie head coach, never calling plays before. But he's found a rhythm. He's listened to his players. He sees what works and doesn't. And as much as Jalen Hurts has progressed this year, Nick Sirianni has progressed as much. I mean,
right.
You cannot take anything away from Nick Sirianni's game plan. I mean, the run game has obviously worked, and I've been preaching run for weeks now because of our offensive line. Denver was the 9th best rush defense, 8th or 9th best rush defense, in the league. And they still ran the ball pretty effectively. We ran the ball effectively against the Buccaneers earlier in the year, even though they were the number 1 rushing defense. So he's finally learning what works. He's making the adjustments. Unfortunately, it took him 5 or 6 weeks to figure that out. But you know what? He's learned, and that's definitely major progress going forward here.
One thing I will say too, I think Sirianni's starting to get it. Like in this league, you really do need that identity. Identity is super important. I think the Eagles are starting to find their identity. This is a physical team. It is.
Absolutely.
Even the way the defense plays, I'm sure too, but both sides of the football, I really felt like this team, when you're even looking at the running game, you're moving the ball on this Denver Broncos team. I will say this. I do think that the Broncos did smell themselves, and that was what I was thinking about going. This is why I felt like this would be a trap game. Would the Broncos smell themselves after a big win last week against the Dallas Cowboys? The way they beat them was great. Going back home, they were going to feel themselves. You got their fans behind you. You're looking at the 3-6 Philadelphia Eagles. And I especially in that first quarter, I really felt like, why are you giving so much to Jalen Hurts and this Eagles offense? But they took advantage. That's what you have to do. Absolutely. And I feel like they really punched them in the mouth. Even there was some big, we finally saw linebacker play that actually made me feel like I saw pursuit from linebacker. I saw Davion Taylor and TJ, wherever the ball was going, boom, they were moving over there. And I haven't seen that all season long. It made me so happy, man.
I'm not going to get too overhyped on the defense because there's still some, some weak spots there on that defense. I'm still not a fan of Jonathan Gannon. But yes, Davion Taylor and TJ Edwards, I mean, yeah, they definitely did their job 110% today. They made the tackles. Last week you saw a couple missed tackles from them. You saw some moments. But this week they did what they had to do. And I love your point on, Denver smelling themselves after that big Dallas win last week. Maybe they came in there. Even their body language. I'm a big body language guy, whether it's watching press conferences or talking to whatever it is. I love body language and reading it. And Teddy Bridgewater's body language most of the game today was I don't need to be here. This is an easy win. He had a very lazy body personality out there today. And Fletcher Cox was still asleep. I mean, he actually had some moments in the second half. He was definitely getting some pressure. So I don't want to totally bash Fletcher Cox. He did not make the stat sheet in the first half, but he was getting some pressure. But me calling him out at the halftime show woke him up, and he made some big plays in the second half. I'll take credit for that. There's a lot of comments coming in here. Bridgewater's a dink and dunk quarterback. Yes, I get that. Gannon. We got here. I just don't understand Gannon can't call a defense like this week in and week out. Yeah, I mean, maybe he's learning. Maybe he's just a few games behind Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts on his learning curve there. I don't know. The defense is still void of talent, and I don't want to focus on the negative. I want to stay focused on the positives. We got a lot of comments coming in on Jordan Howard, dude. The godsend that he is. How's this guy been on our practice squad all season until the last 3 weeks?
Listen, that was a head scratcher. And, even you look at Boston Scott not getting as many carries, and he's been able to, it's his whole tenure with the Eagles. You've seen him actually add some production to this team. What a little spark he provides to you. He's not an every down back. He at best is like a third down back, a change of pace type of back, but he gives you something. But it's not even those two. Like, where was TJ Edwards this whole season?
Yeah.
That's like the type of stuff we're talking about here. But
exactly.
Phil, to me, the play of the game was the Darius Slay fumble return for a touchdown.
Absolutely. That drive there, Denver was moving down the field. I talked about right before you got on here. I said keys of the game were the turnover battle and the time of possession. And they won the time of possession in the first half. That drive there, Denver was starting to swing the momentum. The time of possession was starting to go back into their favor, or at least get back to even. That fumble there, and that was a Davion Taylor strip. That wasn't, Darius Slay actually obviously had a great run back there. But that was all Davion Taylor.
Yeah.
If Davion Taylor doesn't make that heads-up strip there, we might be talking about a different game here.
Yeah, Davion Taylor back at home. He talked about that during the week, and that was something I was talking about, something we should keep an eye out, because when you're playing in Denver, no one ever thinks about the elevation up there, and that is a serious thing. You see Darius Slay run, it was like an 82-yard return, something like that, something crazy. He goes on the side.
He ran like 300 yards because he kept running back and around and stuff like that.
He had the little fumble. It looked like Deshaun Jackson. He fumbled it and then picked it up and then ran it back. But no, he's on the sideline with the oxygen tank, because, dude, that's a legit. That's something you have to consider about when you're playing out there. And Davion Taylor himself, great game back in Colorado. Obviously, he attended the University of Colorado, and he was talking about it before the game, and presses and interviews that's something serious and something you do have to consider. But the Eagles went up there. They weren't worried about the circumstances. And shout out to Broncos fans. They are pretty passionate. They do get behind their team. We showed up as we always do. We had some good amount of fans. I always have to give my boy, the Philly sports guy, a shout out as well. A couple times on camera tonight. But no, it was a great atmosphere in the Eagles. They took the momentum. They took the momentum for most of the game. There was a little instance in that third quarter, even at the end of the first, end of the third quarter as well. The Broncos were making some pushes, but the Eagles finding a way to just cut that momentum and get the momentum back. And
let's be honest. And let's be honest. Denver isn't a great team. They're not a bad team, but they're not a great team. They're an average team that has two okay running backs, a young guy that might be good in Williams, and Melvin Gordon, who's in the tail end of his career. They got a quarterback that's a conservative quarterback. He's never going to be a top 10 quarterback. He's never going to be a bottom 30 quarterback. Right? They just start an average team, and you could lose to an average team, obviously, like Dallas did last week if you're not prepared. But if you have a good game plan going, you're clearly going to beat a team like Denver, and that's what they did. They executed, and they had a game plan, and they executed it. So people checking in, they can't wait till my overreaction Monday tomorrow. And don't worry, I already have overreaction Monday planned out in my head. We got lots of comments. So Quez Watkins, clearly the number 2 wide receiver on this team. Huge drop there for a touchdown. Killed a lot of people's parlays and bets. Everybody was betting Quez Watkins beating Ronald Darby, which he did. I know Brendan Deeg, from the National Football Post had called that one out and obviously dropped right through his hands. That was a little blip in the radar. But Devontae Smith and Quez Watkins, I think we have a building block there, and you see it every week starting to get better and better at wide receiver. I still think we need a big wide receiver or a possession-type wide receiver, but I really see those two young building blocks starting to, another two players, develop and take steps forward, progressing.
I'll tell you what, though, that touchdown by Devontae Smith, the first one,
Woo,
that's some big boy stuff. Big boys do that type of stuff, man.
Yeah. And he's what, like 4'11", 110 pounds, and he went up and got that ball. You know what? Let's look at the little things. There was a point in the game where Jalen Hurts almost threw another interception, and Devontae Smith went up and played defensive back and broke that ball up. Oh. That's a little thing. I counted 3 spots tonight where 3 different players made little moves, little things that show progress and discipline. We could talk about Derek Barnett never being disciplined, but I saw 3 things, and that was one of them. Devontae Smith going up and breaking up a ball that could be picked off. That's you helping your quarterback out, and that's a huge moment.
Yeah, don't think just because you play wide receiver, you don't have to do that. Like when that happens, listen, even if it doesn't get intercepted, I expect you to make a tackle as well on the play. Mm-hmm. Like you have to be able to help you. That's part of winning football there. But no, Devontae his reaction time is pretty impeccable, and being able to get that ball at the highest point on that touchdown, that was pretty impressive. And even the route running on the second touchdown, that's his bread and butter. You see, I'm sure Dan Orlovsky is going to come out tomorrow on Twitter, show us these nights because he's fully in love with that guy as well. But I wanted to say this: Could
you imagine if Dan Orlovsky got Wentz and Devontae Smith on the same team? His 2 favorite man, that would be just like a. I'm thinking of dirty words and dirty phrases right now. I don't want to get into that.
OnlyFans there, Phil.
This is a family program here. But he would love those 2 guys together.
Yes, he would.
Now, obviously, Devontae Smith. You could debate whether it was the right move, whether to get a Micah Parsons or something like that. But Devontae Smith was out of the wide receivers. Jamar Chase has had a good rookie year as well. But obviously Waddle, he's ahead of Waddle. He's ahead of Tony. He's ahead of all the other rookie wide receivers right now. And at this pace, he's going to break the Eagles' rookie receiving record for sure.
Wait, do you put him above Chase?
No. Coming into the season, I put him above Chase. In the draft, I had him as my number 1. Chase has had a better season so far. But the last week or 2, you kind of see Jamar Chase start to hit a wall. He hasn't had those explosive games as defenses start to see that they're going towards him so much. Actually, I think we got Nick Sirianni at the podium here. We want to hear a few minutes of what he's got to say here. And you're more than welcome to talk right over it because that's what I like to do.
Good, man.
Yeah. He just gets better every day. He truly exemplifies the getting better, 1% better every day, getting a little bit better every day, and he just continues to get better. So, he just did some really good things in that game, and right before the double move we made to Devontae, he made a couple really good checks. And the third down, and I don't know, was it 12, 13? That's a big time play. And we needed that at that time. We were talking on the sideline like, hey, we're up 3-0. Defense just got to stop. Let's get up 10 on somebody, right? And I know that's always the goal, right? But and he really got us out of the hole. You want the call back to Raider. They played a different little defense than what we thought. And he got us out of the hole. And that's what good quarterbacks do. And he did a really good job today.
Nick, we talked a lot about formula, identity with the offense. Do you think you're finally there? Do you think you have an identity?
I don't know if you're ever finally there, right? You always have to adjust to what people are doing and taking away. But to be able to run the ball for what do we have, 200?
Yeah,
200 something, right? To be able to do that against a defense of that caliber, because that's a good defense, right? And they've shown that they're a good defense. But to be able to do that, that's about those guys in the locker room, and it starts with those guys up front, led by Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson. I want to mention all of them, but they all did a great job. Anytime you rush for over 200 yards, the offense, so you don't have to ask me who got a game ball. The offensive line will get a game ball.
Absolutely.
Because they did a great job. And
I really hope Kelsey and Dickerson are okay after their little scares late in the game there.
Nick, I know you mentioned Devontae. Usually when a quarterback kind of puts the ball up for a receiver to make a play, that receiver might be 6'3", 6'4", DK Metcalf kind of guy. What is it about Devontae that allows him to make a play?
He's just a good – sometimes you just say about a guy, he's just a good football player. That's like one of the like growing up in a coach's house, like that was like the ultimate compliment, right? Like, man, what's going on? And I'm gonna say a name, Ron Schneider. Yeah, he was a quarterback for Southwestern High School. Man, he's just a good football player. He's just a good football player, right? And so he's longer than you think too, right? I mean, I know what his height is, but he's got long arms, and so
I agree
he's
with
just a
the
good
Irish.
football player. He just went up and got it, and he's had a lot of reps against Patrick Surtain. Patrick Surtain's a really good football player. He's
Great
gonna be a good
matchup
player
there
in
with
this
that
league
one.
for a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah, it was.
He just went up and Jalen gave him an opportunity.
It's somebody I
to
wanted
put
the
it on
Eagles to
the right
draft.
spot.
Yep.
And he just went up and made a play.
Yeah, man.
And he ran some really good routes today too, just on some under routes and some things like that. So he showed it both ways today, and Jalen was able to get him the ball. It was a good game by Devontae, and he played his tail off.
We'll get one more question, then we'll get back to this here.
Cool.
Well, they had a couple pressures coming, and that was not going to be good against the protection that we had called, and he got us out of it. And so, again, it was built into the play. We know what the problems are with the protection, and he saw it. It was a good disguise by the Broncos, but he saw it. He may have heard it, and he just got us to the right play, and we ended up getting 6. And then it gave us when you do that, I think. Jordan Howard got 6 on the first one. Then we got the first down on the second one. And when you do that, you're like, well, shoot, just call it again. Like Jalen's going to get us out of it gives you confidence, right? Because you're like, Jalen's going to get us out if it's a funky look. And he did, but this time they didn't give us a funky look, and he was able to run the play and make a really good throw. So really good job.
All right, so that's a little bit from Nick Sirianni there.
Coach.
When Jalen Hurts comes up, we'll bring him up as well. He brings up a
Cool.
lot of great points, and his press conferences are obviously so much easier to listen to when
Yeah.
after a win versus after a loss. Obviously, you got more people checking in. What's happening?
What's going on, man?
Yeah, fly Eagles fly, man. So he brings up identity. You brought up identity,
Yes,
before
sir.
we brought him up, and he says you don't ever have an identity. You're always adjusting. But the positive I take away from that is his identity is he's learning to adjust quicker. Before it was, adjust in the fourth quarter, start doing the right things. Now he's doing the right things from the get-go or pretty quickly into the get-go of a game. So that just shows he's growing as a coach.
But why not stick to an identity? That's what I would say. Because the way I'm looking at it, right? The rest of the season, next week, I believe we have New Orleans coming into town. If I'm not mistaken,
we're home against New Orleans next week.
Right.
Yeah,
right. So they're missing a quarterback, but they're still a pretty physical team with a good defense. And then we obviously have 2 with the football team, 2 with the Giants. Why not stick to this physical type of football that you've been playing with the past 3 weeks? Because I do think that if you continue playing like the way you did today, even the way they played against the Chargers and the Lions, I do think that we're going to be in for a good ride going forward. Because I don't think the football team, especially and by the way, we need to bring up that's a big loss for the football team. Obviously, I don't like the football team, but I also like competitive football. Losing Chase Young, that's a big loss. But
have they said what is I saw he went down. I didn't see if they called what the injury was.
If I'm not mistaken, I thought it was a torn ACL. I'd have to double check, but I did see him in the second half.
If anybody's watching, sees an update on Chase Young, drop it in the comments. Help us out there. But no, that's extremely unfortunate. I love. We've never done really too many shows together.
Right.
I always talk about I love defense. I love defensive line and offensive line.
We'll get along great, Phil.
I grew up in the buddy ball era. I love it.
Man.
I'm old. I'm the oldest member. Well, not anymore. Jason Voorhees is the oldest member of Team DSM now. but for the most part, I'm the oldest member of Team DSM. I'm used to strong physical football, and I love that. And so when you hate to see a great player like Chase Young go down, you just do.
Phil, dude, don't listen. I'm young, but I grew up in the Jimmy Johnson days, and that was still fun defense, as you know very well. So I'm right there with you, man. And that's why I would love for I do think that with today's NFL shutdown defenses, I always bring it up, your 2013 Seahawks, your 2000 Braves, 85 Bears, those days are kind of dumb. But I think that thank you so much, Scott. I appreciate that.
So it is a torn ACL. That's a shame.
Awesome. Yep. Yeah. Seriously, that's a big loss there for the football team. But no,
and they still won somehow. That just goes to show how crazy the NFL is this year. I do my fantasy and my gambling shows, and I talk about all this different stuff. But yet this year has been probably, in my 10 years of doing gambling and fantasy stuff, probably the most unpredictable season there is. No one saw Washington beating Tampa Bay today.
Let me ask you, because I'm not big on gambling. So what does that mean for people who took the line for the Lions?
The line for the Lions, if they took the Lions -2 or +2 or whatever, you lose the bet.
Really, even with the
Yeah.
I don't know how draws
So,
work. The ties.
if
or
you
ties, I
took
should
the Lions -2, you lost the bet. If you took the Lions +2, you won the bet.
say. Interesting. Very
Because
interesting.
if you took the Lions +2, that means that Pittsburgh had 2 more points.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So,
Well,
yeah,
at least the Lions won't
yeah,
go
yeah.
0-17.
Our man Jason Sullivan, I'm sure he's watching at some point tonight this show. His Detroit Lions they just can't win a game. Even when they have a chance to win a game like tonight, they can't win a game. They'd rather tie than win a game. He said they wouldn't win a game all year, and he's sticking to that. Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
crazy, man. But they don't
But
show
yeah.
up against us.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, Drew's saying we got an easy schedule, and you just said that a few minutes ago. I mean, after the Saints, we were still a really good team.
Yeah.
Did they win or lose by 2? They lost today by 2.
Yeah.
Or 3. Yeah, it was a
Titans
close
on a
loss.
roll. Sheesh.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's still though. I mean, it's still a good team, like you said.
Yeah.
So we need to continue with this identity. We need to continue
Mhm.
this, philosophy going forward. Because can we win next week? Sure, it's a home game. We haven't won yet at home. We're not going to lose all our home games this year. So eventually they're going to win a game at home. Why not next week? But they have to have that identity because you got a lot of games. You've got one of the easiest schedules coming up here in the next, 8 or 9 weeks. Hypothetically speaking, if you play like this week in the last couple of weeks, you can win 4, 5, 6 more games. I'm not going to jump on that till overreaction Monday tomorrow. But, hypothetically speaking, you can have a really good run here if you stick to this identity of running the ball.
Yeah, and it's not even just running the ball, but even this defense. Obviously, look, I don't think I think Gannon has been a big problem with this defense overall. But I saw, like I told you earlier, I've seen guys flying to the ball. Even when you're playing this freaking soft zone coverage that we keep running.
So bad.
But
I never thought I would ask for Jim Schwartz back. I never did.
Right.
I was the biggest anti-Schwartz guy. And man, I would love to have Jim Schwartz back right now.
Dude, you're not even lying. You're not even lying. But the thing is, too, Phil, is we were promised this defensive mogul. He's going to change the way you think about defenses. This defensive genius, and he's absolutely the complete opposite of what we were promised.
And he said, and so did Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni adjusted and turned into what he said.
Right.
But we heard all offseason that all these coaches were going to put not put square pegs in the round holes. They were going to adjust their schemes and their identity to the players. Gannon has not done that. Gannon has just continued to, do the same thing over and over again, even though you don't have the defensive players to do that. So that is still a big issue.
But I just hope that Howie realizes that, look,
we
still, don't get me wrong. We have a lot of holes on defense. I will agree there. But you see that now you have a tiny bit more formidable linebacker play, and you're seeing the defense playing a little bit better. I hope that it kind of clicks in Howie that listen, if I can get some game changers here at this position, things will start changing here for this defense. And it really does start. I don't get where he got this mentality that the linebacker position does not matter. I don't understand how that works. Because I watched these past Super Bowl champs, they have good linebacker play. So I hope that something in this game.
I don't know, because if you really think about it, they've never really drafted early linebackers. They haven't for a long time. Even Jeremiah Trotter wasn't a first round draft pick. So it's been a really long time since they valued that. So
since Joe Banner,
anything you think about Howie Roseman, remember, he learned from Joe Banner.
Right.
So he's basically doing the same thing that Joe Banner did anyway, which is not value the position. So whatever. I mean, if you have really great front four, if you have a really great secondary, you can get by with decent linebacker play, I guess, or decent talent at linebacker. Maybe that's what he hopes for. But as Drew said, I'm still on the fence saying that we will see Jalen Hurts as the quarterback next year, unless my pipe dream of getting Russell Wilson, which again, they got smoked today. They didn't score. He's going to want out of Seattle so bad. Unless we're getting Russell Wilson, Jalen Hurts is the quarterback again next year. So you invest in the foundational pieces, defensive line, linebacker, more of offensive line depth.
Playmakers, please.
It's not the sexy thing to do offense and defensive fronts, but that's what you're going to need to do. And you put a better team around Jalen Hurts, and you even improve that offensive line a little bit more. You get a linebacker, another defensive lineman. This team's even a little bit better. As long as he continues to progress as a leader, and you said it in the beginning when you first jumped on, Jalen Hurts is a leader. There's not one player in the NFL that wouldn't want to play with Jalen Hurts, the leader. Mm-hmm. Talent-wise and growing because he's young, that's another whole subject. But the leader, nobody would want to not play with that guy.
You're 100% right, man. And these guys all been rallying around him. It's been great to watch, and it's so hard for me because like every week I watch Jalen Hurts and play, and I'm rooting for him so hard, and I
Yeah.
really want to be the franchise quarterback. I love the dude. I love the way he plays. He's so
Yeah.
much fun. And one thing I will say, Phil, like people are criticizing his running, right?
Right.
I will say this. Look, it's a weapon. It
It
really
is.
is a weapon, dude. There was one play I think it was in the second quarter where Jordan Howard he had the check down to Jordan Howard.
Yeah.
He
You have
could
to
have
check that. I know exactly what play you're talking about.
right. It would have been like an 8-yard completion, right? But he
Mhm.
ran the ball and he got like a 20, 30-yard gain, and it's like, dude, he just took the better play.
The run itself wasn't impressive. It was the vision he had because
Ex-
he didn't just take off. He stepped up, evaluated the field, saw that Howard was going to be an 8-yard first down, but saw all the cornerbacks backs to him running down with the wide receivers and knew he can gain 20, 30, 40 yards. So
Exactly.
that was the thing there. It was the vision of the field, knowing how to take the check down to take it. That was what
Game
was impressive.
this is truly a game of inches, man. In some games, you're gonna you really see it where
Absolutely.
it's a battle of field position, right?
Mhm.
Listen, he still needs to evolve, right? Like there are
Absolutely.
times where like you got someone downfield wide open where it could have been a touchdown, and he takes like the 10-yard running play.
Mhm.
But in that instance, that's what I'm talking about. It's a weapon. That
Mhm.
weapon needs to be part of the arsenal, cannot be the whole entire arsenal. But when you take that play, I'm not going to complain about that. I'm flat out
Right.
just not going to complain
There,
about
there is one thing he needs to learn, and he did it one time. It was I talked about it already. There were a couple little tiny little moments in a game where I saw smart plays happen. You know, we talked about Devontae Smith breaking up a potential interception late in the fourth quarter. We were down along the goal line before that last field goal there, and he was run around the outside to the right, and he slid and stayed in bounds.
it.
Okay, which was great. Kept the clock running all. But that's something he doesn't do. He doesn't slide enough. And we went through this with Donovan. We went through this with Michael Vick. We've gone through it with Randall Cunningham. If we want to go back further, you got to slide some. He took
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz. He took some really, really hard hits today.
Mhm.
You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There was one play in the third or fourth quarter where he took a hit and he just lied on the field for a half a second. And I thought he was going to start convulsing on the field there. Like he really, really took a hard hit here. And he needs to learn to slide, protect his body a little bit more. But another key little moment of the game, him sliding, staying in bounds, and not stopping that clock. You know, we dealt with that with Miles Sanders earlier in the year, stepping out, and stopping the clock. So it's a good thing to see from a young player.
Yeah, you're 100% right. That taking those next steps in his game, man. Obviously Jordan Howard, a pretty solid game. I think he led the Eagles in rushing again.
Yep,
I wanted to ask you
here. I can bring that up. Well, we had multiple guys. Yeah, he had 83 yards.
3
Boston
yards,
Scott had 81 yards.
Yep.
Hurts had 53. I mean, we had 214 yards rushing, and that included kneel downs from Jalen Hurts, and it included an 8-yard negative run from Jalen Reagor. Who, let me tell you something. Jalen Reagor, I mean, is there anybody bigger of a bust right now than Jalen Reagor?
I'm so glad you brought that up because I've been
somebody brought it up that we need
critical on
another
him.
wide receiver. We absolutely need another wide receiver because Jalen Reagor cannot be on this team right now. Going forward next year, he's going to be on the field this year because there are no other options unless you want to put Hightower out there, which honestly might be a good option right now. But Jalen Reagor, man, the guy he can't get separation. He's never open. You try to use his speed on end arounds. He can't. He runs backwards more than he runs forward.
Yeah, that pissed me off today.
Yeah, he's just not good.
But even on that play, like, dude, trust your blockers. If he would have just attempted to go, just dart it to the sideline, right? I feel like one of those tackles or guards would have been able to get in front of that defenders that were pursuing him. But instead, he tries to pull this Barry Sanders BS, and it's like, dude, just run to the outside. Give your blockers that opportunity. But yeah, I've been super critical of him because I believe it or not, I was one of those guys that actually wanted Jalen Reagor before the draft, and the minute when I saw Justin Jefferson fall, I don't know what it was. And this is one of the things I always say, like, this is why you got to watch every single game in college. I did not watch a national championship film of Justin Jefferson. And I wish I did because what I felt like he was another Jordan Matthews, and boy, was I wrong.
Yeah.
And what I saw Jalen Reagor's speed, being able to stretch the field. That's something that Carson Wentz really needed because you remember in 2019 when he had Deshaun Jackson, he loved having D-Jax going downfield. And I was like, that's Reagor. That's going to be Reagor. And he just hasn't been that guy. I think to me, maturation's a big part of him. I don't think he's mature enough to be playing in this game. Talent wise, I think he's got the speed. I just think he's a knucklehead.
See, the problem with Jalen Reagor is, and people all see the speed, and everybody gets excited because the new NFL is all about speed.
Right.
But you got to have other things on your team. You can't just have 3 speed wide receivers. You need a big bodied guy. You need a guy that, I had Daryl, I think his name's Williams. One of the guys I had on, Daryl Adams. He's a wide receiver, one of the pro level sports agent clients, and he's a 6'3" wide receiver. And he doesn't follow the Eagles. He's a Saints fan. But I was bringing up the Eagles. He's like, you can't have 3 speed guys. You need a big guy that can go up and get the play. The thing with Jalen Reagor is, I wanted Justin Jefferson because I wanted the size, and I knew he was more than just a slot guy. But the thing with Jalen Reagor was, I didn't even think he was a first-round talent, because if you looked at his numbers in college, he had, I forget what the stats called exactly, but based off of targets versus catches, one of the lowest percentages in all of college football based off of X amount of targets. Okay. Which people were like, oh, well, he had a bad quarterback throwing the ball. But then you break it down even further. He had one of the top guys in drop passes as well. Balls that hit your hands and you do not come away with it. So there were enough like second and third level stats on him that said he was not just about speed. And that was the problem that I had with Jalen Reagor.
Yeah, man. And boy, were we wrong about him. But hey, I think that, because listen, for me, Phil, as many defensive players we can get in next year's draft, that's where I'm at. I think that this is going to be a position where you're going to go back to free agency, find yourself a third wide receiver, get someone that's more of a bargain.
I don't think you necessarily need to go draft a first round top 10 wide receiver.
No. Absolutely.
You have that with Devontae Smith. You can go out in free agency. You focused on young draft picks. I'll even go a guy that he had a bad game today, but he's got size. And something we need is a Timothy Patrick. Denver's slot wide receiver. The guy's about 6'2", 6'3". If you notice, he had a Jordan Matthews type thick body out there. You go get a guy like that could get that 50-50 ball. You need the next Alshon Jeffries. You need somebody that can get that first down.
Phil starting the free agency tracker. Let's go.
Dude, I've been working on free agency for before the year started because I knew this season wasn't going to be a title contender. I'm already focused on 2022. I'm all in for Russell Wilson, but I know that's not going to happen. So I'm all in on all the other options. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah.
Phil, we do it because I do see that that jersey you got behind you on, I believe it's your left-hand side. Dude, that was a big blow today.
Yeah, absolutely. Dallas Goedert is a guy that is absolutely proving that he could be a number one tight end in the NFL and a top 5 tight end in the NFL.
Yep.
But man, the NFL referees and the fact that they, Scotty bringing up another Denver receiver in Cortland Sutton. He didn't even have a catch, did he? I mean, he might have had a catch. I don't even know. Let me bring up the box score back up. He had 2 catches late in the game on 3 targets. Yeah.
Slay was on him for most of the game, right?
Who?
Slay?
Yeah, he was on Slay. Slay was guarding him most of the game. So, that just proves that Darius Slay is still a lockdown cornerback. Exactly. But Dallas Goedert, that hit and the way the refs ref a game and the inconsistencies is still something that needs to be addressed by the NFL, because you called that not a foul, but yet you have this taunting call on Avonte Maddox on the next drive, which I said at the halftime show. It's a stupid rule, stupid everything. We know that, but it's now week 10. Players got to be smarter and know that that's going to get called on them. But how that's a 15-yard penalty, but that hit on Dallas Goedert wasn't. Oh, real quick, I want to bring up Jalen Hurts here real quick onto the screen. He just stepped to the podium. We'll get 2 or 3 minutes of Jalen Hurts here. Can't read that shirt that he's wearing.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, we end up running the same play repeatedly until we got the look we wanted, and we took advantage of the look. Devontae went up there, made a spectacular catch on the ball, got down, maintained position on the ball, we got a touchdown. So it was a big start and a big spark for us. Obviously, want to come out the first drive and finish after a great drive, opening a drive like that, finishing in the red zone. But that's just a great play by Smitty.
Jalen, your entire first half, do you think that's the sharpest you did this year?
Is that what you're saying?
That Jeff McClain?
Like I said,
I don't know who's saying it, but
sounds
like the answer to a Jeff McClain question.
I think they presented some different looks to us. sent a lot of pressure in moments of the game, and
That's
I
true,
think
man.
there were definitely highs in it. I think there were lows in it, and the good, bad, and the ugly, we're gonna learn from it. So I continue to learn from it and grow from it.
It's always next man up mentality when you lose a player. But when Dallas Goedert goes out, how does that kind of alter things?
Yeah, we all know Dallas
if he's
is a
out
big-time
for a little
player,
while,
big-time tight end for us.
man, it's the Tyrese Jackson show, and
on the naked,
we're gonna miss
yeah.
Zach Ertz big time next week.
Cross coming,
Jack
third
Stoll and
down,
Tyree
big-time
Jackson.
plays, and it indeed was the next man up mentality. And you know, those guys, Jack and Tyree, they work their tail off throughout the week. They see Dallas and the way he does things, and they learn from him. But they're ready to play. Pleased by everybody, how they stepped in, when needed in this game.
A lot of good throws from the pocket. You just feel more comfortable each week getting those types of opportunities.
No, it's not. Throwing from the pocket ain't like it's something that I can't do. I mean, something, you know, I think I do very well. It's just, I guess, just taking advantage of it. Third down, you know, they're high rushing, trying to get me to escape out of there. They're giving me more time to stay in the pocket. So, took advantage of it today.
It's praising you for a few of the checks he made. Does that kind of speak to your comfort level in this offense 10 weeks in?
I think that comes from a whole lot of different things. I think it comes from, you know, comfort, coaches, that comfort in me. Also, knowing that it's time to get it done. And there's no doubt, there's no hesitation on anything that I'm doing out there. I'm just trying to go out there and react to what I see. So
we'll hear one more question, then we'll wrap this up.
The coach knows what I'm doing or not. Going with my gut, and going out there and trying to make it right.
The best throw you might have made was the one before halftime to Quez that actually was not a touchdown. What worked on that throw, and what did you say to Quez afterwards?
I like to throw out through to Jalen Rager when the guy hit me in my chin.
I missed that.
And throws like that, just giving you guys some insight.
When
There's
Teddy
some
Bridgewater
throws where
gets
you
hit in the
throw ball,
chin.
you don't know if the guy caught it or not because you're taking a lick. But we have a lot of belief in all the guys we have.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, I missed the throw last week on third down. I still got a bad taste in my mouth from that one. And Quez, he dropped one before half, a touchdown, and they happen. So they have complete trust in me, and I have complete trust in them, and we just keep bouncing
I love that
back.
answer.
The biggest thing I'll tell you about this game and anything we go through, right? We've been learning, we've been growing steady. We've been attacking everything, and I think the biggest thing I've realized for us is we have to understand the only direction is to rise. Just continue to rise, continue to grow, continue to put in the effort, and everything will play out the way it's supposed to.
That's a fantastic answer for a young kid right there.
God,
fantastic answer.
It's crazy, man. It is.
There's so many things I want to talk about off the 3 minutes we had that up. I take notes, and I wrote down more notes on that than I did the rest of the show and everything. And we got to wrap this up soon. But you know what? First off, the way he handled that whole question about Quez Watkins dropping the ball and stuff like that, and you know what, we just got to he handled that perfectly, and I love that. And that was a huge drop. This game could be even a bigger blowout if Quez Watkins catches that touchdown.
Dude, but you notice how the minute that they went to the sidelines, right? Jalen went right to his receiver.
Absolutely.
Quez was pissed off, and as he should. I mean, there's a competitor. Yeah. He calmed his ass down, and that is what people
does that
don't
show?
realize.
What's that term?
That is a leader. That is
Absolutely.
that is the pure definition of a leader. And everyone is talking about Jalen can't throw the ball in the pocket. Jalen can't be the quarterback. Guys, listen, in the NFL, your quarterback needs to be the biggest leader. The Denver Broncos are having a solid season, and right now, obviously 5-5 doesn't look positive, but they're having a better season than they've had since Peyton Manning was there. You know why? Yeah. Because Teddy Bridgewater has been the best leader that they've had since Peyton Manning has been there. That's a perfect example to even look at. Dude, Jalen Hurts is born for this moment. He's going to get better at that. The Eagles need to build a team around him. You can win with Jalen Hurts. I'm telling you, you can win with Jalen Hurts.
I'm gonna give you another instance that shows his leadership, and they touched on it, but I want to touch on it even more, like more detailed. That first drive of the game, they marched right down the field, right? I mean, it looked fantastic. They were running the ball, passing the ball. They were spreading it out. They were doing great, and they had to settle for a field goal. A team that's on there. That's had the struggles that they've had, that could have easily been like, damn, we're just not good enough. And they could have folded up at that moment. They got the ball back after a 3-and-out, which was the best drive of the defense of the whole game, was the first defensive stand. And they came back and they went right back down the field. Huge pass to Devontae Smith for that touchdown. They didn't let that first drive stalling get them down. And I think that's a huge, huge moment of leadership from Jalen Hurts and from Nick Sirianni, as well, right there.
Yeah, and it's gonna be every week. They're gonna have to go through their bumps and their bruises. This is a steady grind, like you said. This is a steady build, but they're figuring it out together as a group, and that's what you kind of want to see. You got a young core here. I mean, I really hope that Jalen, Devontae, and Quez Watkins and Dallas Goedert can grow together for the next couple of seasons. It can be our core.
Let's throw Landon Dickerson in there.
Yeah, man.
Jack Driscoll. You got other young guys there as well. Let's not forget about them.
The big uglies up front, man. They're really important as well. Mylotta too. Let's not forget him as well.
Okay, I'm waiting. That's the next jersey that I'm going to get.
Yeah,
jersey. That is my man right there. I've been calling for it all season. I want a 4th and goal on the 1-yard line with a Jordan Mylotta handoff, a la Refrigerator Perry style. I want it so bad. I've wanted it since the day he got here, and I saw his rugby film, and I think he could do it. I want that 4th and goal, 4th and 1. I want that Jordan Mylotta handoff so bad.
I don't know. We got Jordan Howard now. It's going to be tough for him.
Yeah.
To get that.
Jordan Howard has entrenched himself as the number 1 running back. What is going to be interesting is next week, if Miles Sanders comes back, how does the backfield rotation look?
What do you think happens? I was going to ask you.
Do they stick with Jordan Howard, the hot hand? I mean, Miles Sanders is obviously the clear better talent overall.
Right.
When Miles Sanders was out there, they weren't running the ball. I don't get it. So that's going to be a really tough call for Nick Sirianni, and a really interesting, little topic to discuss all week is, it seems like he'll play next week, Miles Sanders, or at least be ready to play. Do they just hold him out for an extra week and let him get fully healthy and use that whole phrase there?
Yeah.
I don't know. But
I definitely would.
I mean, you now have 4 running backs that need the ball. I guess
they keep all 4 though? Because I feel like there's going to be
most teams usually dress 4 running backs.
That's interesting. That's going to be interesting.
Especially when you're not running the 2. Now that you don't have Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert out there every play.
True.
Now that you don't need all those tight ends on your roster, the fact that they only dress 5 wide receivers most weeks anyway anymore now. You probably run 4 running backs out there. It's just you got to give Howard and Scott their carries. So the odd man out. It'll be Kenneth Gainwell, who's seen his numbers tick back a little bit the last couple of weeks. So it'll be interesting. So maybe you line up Scott. We did see I think it was 1 bubble screen out of a wide receiver spot by Boston Scott early in the game. So maybe
Watkins too.
Yeah. So maybe you move Boston Scott and Gainwell out into wide receiver slot positions a little bit occasionally. Mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It'll be an interesting topic going forward for sure.
Where's Greg Ward, by the way?
Who?
Greg Ward.
Oh, you don't know about my Greg Ward thing, do you?
No, I do not. What's your Greg Ward?
He's Mr. 20 catches for 42 yards. So Greg Ward not doing anything is okay by me because he's the most overrated wide receiver. He is more overrated than Ortega-Whiteside is. Okay, he's a bigger. Sorry, I got a lot of Greg Ward.
No, I completely.
He doesn't do anything really great, but what he does do is he catches the ball when it is thrown his way. He's even slower than the guys you got out there. He gets even less separation than the guys out there. He's a really good 4th, 5th wide receiver, veteran presence, someone that can help the young guys. But if you need Greg Ward to make a play, then you're in trouble.
I mean, you probably don't want to hear this, but I would rather see him at the slot receiver than Jalen Reagor. That's just.
Oh, absolutely agree with you on that. I'd rather Ortega-Whiteside out there than Jalen Reagor. At least he blocks a little bit.
The number 1 blocking wide receiver in the NFL. What's up, ladies and gentlemen?
I called it in the offseason that he was making the team. I said it. I didn't say he was going to stay on the team the whole year, but I called that he would make this team. I knew it, and I called that one. So I'll brag about that. I'll admit when I'm wrong, but I'll also brag extra when I'm right because it's so rare. All right, before we wrap this show up, okay? Big win, 30-13. Eagles beat the Broncos.
Yes, sir.
Going forward, what do they got to do this week in preparation to continue this momentum? I know we lost a close one last week against the Chargers, but we've seen some good progress against the Lions, the Chargers. Now this week, another big win against a playoff team, a team that's competing for a playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
Can they keep this momentum going? And what do they have to do this week to have a really strong chance next week against the Saints?
I think they have to continue what they've been doing. You got this identity, right? It's the physicality of it. You got to stick to this physical type of football, and it's on both sides of the football. It's not just on offense, but defense as well. And defensively, I'll start there because look, who the heck is playing quarter? Would they have Trevor Siemian again? Playing
Yeah, they had
QB1.
Simeon played today, and
Right.
and Taysom Hill had some snaps. He's doing his typical, flex roll, whatever that is that you call. I don't know.
New Orleans, it doesn't work. Coming from experience, it does not work. Stop doing that.
Let me
But
tell
anyway,
you something. Hill should not be. Everybody talked about Tim Tebow. I'm going to side tangent how he needs to be a tight end. Well, Hill needs to just be a tight end. Come on, guys, or a fullback or a halfback, whatever. You got to stop running that whole. I don't think anything kills momentum on a team more than pulling your quarterback out or putting him at wide receiver so some flex wildcat type guy can take a snap. I just hate it, and maybe that's old school me. But I just hate it. I think it kills momentum big time.
no, I don't even like that in college. Like I didn't like. It worked 1 year with Tim Tebow and Chris Leak. To me, that's about it. But I don't think that absolutely works. But hey, I think this defense get after. We got some. I mean, look, this Denver D line or all line.
Come on now, get off my screen. I love and appreciate you tuning in, Scotty.
He's a legend. He's a legend in Houston. He's a legend in Houston. All right.
He might be. He might be. But that's not going to cut it in the NFL.
No, but what was I saying? Yeah. So this Eagles defensive line played better, obviously, because of the fact that the Broncos O line was pretty weak on pass blocking. But get after it this week on Trevor Siemian. You just got to make his life a living hell there, and offensively stick to what you keep doing. This is gonna be a good New Orleans defense. Are they like top 5, top 10 defense?
Yeah, they're definitely top 10. I forget which. They're top 5 in either pass or rush. I forget which one. But yeah.
So this could be a good test for Jalen Hurts. And remember, Phil, last year, Jalen's first star, New Orleans at home. They were feeling themselves, and we gave them a loss. So they got that in their head. They're like, remember last year? So they're definitely going to be hungry.
Yeah, that was Drew Brees. This is Trevor Siemian. So the big difference there. They still don't have
Taysom Hill.
Michael Thomas is out for the year. I don't know the severity of Alvin Kamara's injury, but he was ruled out today, didn't play today. So they don't really have – they have Marcus Callaway as a wide receiver. Their wide receivers can be locked down by our cornerbacks, obviously. They don't have a stud tight end. So they're basically living off of their defense. So it's going to come down to our offense figuring out a game plan that can go against their defense.
And you know what, too? Like I've noticed in the first half, Vic was dialing up those blitzes, like those load blitzes on one side, either the left or the right side. They were really trying to attack Lane Johnson there on that left early ball. But what I noticed later on in the second half, I don't know if that was just play calling or Jalen noticing that, but calling those run plays, being able to pull that guard over to get that blitzer. That I'm sure New Orleans is going to notice that type of stuff, and because they are not scared, they will dial up blitzes. They play a physical type of defense. So we'll see if they take the page out of that, and hopefully Jalen is studying that tape of Denver.
And that's another huge sign of progress from Nick Sirianni, seeing what they're doing with that blitz, and being able to make an adjustment and and stop it. So yeah, that was definitely 100%. Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts. This is a type of week going into next week against New Orleans, another playoff fighting team,
right?
Where your leaders need to step up and lead in practice, set the tone, and do all those kind of things because you could win this game, but you could easily get blown out in the next game as well. It's going to come down to the leaders leading the team.
Yes, sir.
I know it sounds really cliche, but
no, it's 100% right though. Would you say that this was Sirianni's best play called game?
Absolutely, 110%. Because it was the most balanced out of all the games, first off.
Yeah.
And he did he pulled the trigger at the right times on the right types of plays. Yeah.
That's it.
He didn't try to get too fancy or too cute. He realized the regular end around wasn't going to work. He did it once and he got it out of his system.
Yes, sir.
This was definitely, I would almost say this was Nick Sirianni's best coached game. It may have been actually Jalen Hurts' best game as well as a quarterback. I know he didn't put up 350 yards or 100 yards rushing or 4 touchdown passes or anything like that, but just his leadership ability and the way he controlled the flow of the game, I would say this was both their best games as a coach and as a pro.
Yes, sir. I 100% agree. Should be a fun week.
Yeah, there's so much going to happen on DSM Media this week, and of course on Persero Philly. There's so much to talk about. We got 5 for 5 covered on both channels now.
Yes, sir.
We got it all. So this is DSM Media, Eagles Aftermath post game live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. You know the deal. A lot of people tuning in YouTube tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Make sure you click that subscribe button, thumbs up. Keep that algorithm going so we continue to build this this great team that we got going here. And make sure you support our sponsors, Manscaped, the best in male grooming products. 20% off with the code TRENDING at checkout. TRENDING.
Let's go.
Get you 20% off, free shipping. Holidays are right around the corner. Like I said before, get the man in your life what they need. And not only will they be happy, but you'll be happy as well with those products in their hands. So again, Eagles Aftermath, huge win, 20-13 on the Broncos. I'll be back live tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. with Jeremy for Trending in the AM. Overreaction Monday. I'm already formulating thoughts to overreact that everyone's not going to read the word overreact in front of it and say I'm a nut because of it. But, that's just the way people, handle Overreaction Monday.
Let's go.
Parcero, at
My
Parcero Philly. You got anything to plug this week? What do you got coming up this week?
Dude, listen, again, like we just mentioned, Nolan's week, right? So we'll be breaking that down. We got a couple big, for the Sixers and the Flyers, it's a tough stretch of games that they got going on, my dude. So we'll be plugged in on that. So we got a doubleheader on Tuesday night again. Saturday night doubleheader, Tuesday night doubleheader, man. Sixers and Flyers, a double dose.
I hate doubleheaders because, man, I don't know. My remote, my Comcast remote, the OK button in the middle is worn out because I hit OK. They keep going back and forth, man. Yeah, I can't handle doubleheaders.
Pretty much. And of course, guys, in Philadelphia, we're preparing for playoffs. And yes, we're preparing for playoffs. The Philadelphia Union facing off against the New York Red Bull this upcoming Saturday. If you guys drive around Philadelphia, Center City, Philadelphia, Chestnut, Market, Walnut, wherever you're at, make sure to keep an eye out for those playoff. We have playoff banners throughout the city on the light posts. We got Philly. I forget what the motto is this year for the playoffs, but we got Union stuff all over the city.
I love it.
It's great, man. It's great playoff time here in the city.
I will be rocking my Union shirt on Saturday.
Let's do it.
110%. There's no doubt about it. That'll be my uniform for work on Saturday.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
Man. And then we'll just keep eye out for any other free agency news with the Phillies. It's spicing up right now. We got some sort of direction, but we'll keep an eye out as well. Whatever's going on with the Phils, man.
Yeah. So much going on. So make sure you stay tapped into DSM Media at DSM_media at Parcero Philly at Bearded Knowledge.
Yes, sir.
Hey, this has been a blast. It's been a great first post game show with you here, man.
Yeah, man. We got a lot more coming up, man, and hopefully this is like something good for the Eagles.
Yeah,
maybe some more dubs.
I have good energy. I can't wait to go into the other room and just enjoy the rest of this night because I've got good positive vibes going right now. I know there'll be the negative Nancys out there. They're going to say, relax, don't worry, whatever. I just feel good after a win. That's what an Eagles fan is all about, and that's what we do. We want to win, and we just want to feel good going into the next week. So I'm excited. So.
Yes, sir. You guys be safe out there, but celebrate this one for sure. It's a good one.
All right, everybody, have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Stay tapped in, like I said. Y'all have a great one, and go Birds, man.
Go Birds.